The Locked On NFL podcast is brought to you by Peacock and Williamson. If you like the Locked On NFL podcast, you're going to love the Peacock and Williamson podcast. NFL analyst Brian Peacock, former NFL scout Matt Williamson host Locked On's Peacock and Williamson every Monday through Friday. Brian and Matt give you the national perspective all around the NFL with the latest news, insight on every game, team, and move around the league. Get your picks, previews, and much more every weekday with the Peacock and Williamson podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Subscribe wherever you find podcasts. It's the Locked On NFL podcast live on YouTube. You can find us, of course. Subscribe, hit that alerts button. I'm joined by Peter Bukowski, of course, Locked On Today and Locked On Packers. Suddenly, the Green Bay Packers have become the biggest soap opera in the NFL. Book, thanks for joining us, man. I just want to, if you are watching on YouTube, I'm going to take us through pictures on social media. Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams. I don't know if they're deeming themselves the Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan of the NFL. That was posted. And then also you had Aaron Rodgers working out, hanging out with his left tackle, David Bakhtiari. But, I would have never guessed, and I don't know if you could, Peter, that Aaron Rodgers is going to have a more dramatic exit from Green Bay than his predecessor, Brett Favre.
It does seem impossible. And what's really remarkable about that is that Aaron Rodgers has spent essentially his entire career saying he does not want to end his career in Green Bay the way Brett Favre did. And I guess he's right that will not be the case because it'll be more dramatic. As you said, this is much more contentious than that was. And now it has this trickle-down effect. You mentioned the Last Dance post. That was Davante Adams. The reports come out that he is unhappy with his contract situation. They've actually broken off those contract talks, which is kind of the Packers' MO. They've done this a number of times with high-profile players before ultimately paying them the top dollar that they want. But it is not great right now in Green Bay. They may be the smallest market in the NFL, but right now they certainly have the most drama. And we are still here just a few days away from training camp and have no idea if Aaron Rodgers, the reigning league MVP, is going to show up to training camp. That is crazy.
It is wild. And I'm trying to, as an outsider, figure out who's the bad guy in this.
It depends on who you ask. And I think if you ask Packer fans on Monday, they might have a different answer on Wednesday. And I think there are a lot of fans really struggling with determining who is at fault here. I think it's not the sports radio answer, but the answer is nuanced to me. The Packers have admitted some mistakes. They could have handled Aaron Rodgers differently with the Jordan Love situation, could have given him a heads up. Brian Gutekunst said this offseason, if Aaron Rodgers wants to be more a part of the decision-making around the roster, I would welcome that input, essentially saying, Rodgers has not asked for that level of input publicly. Rodgers has said, that's not my job. But at the same time, Aaron Rodgers, what we don't really understand here is why has this gotten so bad so quickly? He spent the entire last year since the Packers drafted Jordan Love saying, hey, look, I'm fine with this. I'm okay. I've made peace with it. I harbor no ill will. If you go back and watch the Kyle Brandt interview, that was the famous 4 fingers of tequila line. He says, I don't harbor any ill will. I'm at peace. I know my future is a little uncertain, but I'm okay with it. Clearly, he's not okay with it. And we don't know what accelerated that, if something accelerated it. We don't really know all of the details here. It seems like we're operating with way less information than we'd like to have to understand, okay, what is it that took him from 13-3 NFC Championship game, 1 drive away potentially from going to the Super Bowl and being the reigning league MVP, to saying, I don't want to be here anymore. And then not saying anything outwardly all season or all off season. It really beggars belief in a lot of ways that we could have gotten here. And so the fact that we don't have that information, I think, has a lot of Packer fans going, hey, Aaron, what's the deal? The team is really good. You have a stacked roster and a loaded offense that was just the best in the league. What are you complaining about? I think there are a lot of Packer fans that feel that way.
Peter Bukowski, Locked On Today, Locked On Packers, joins us here on the Locked On NFL podcast. So I liked how you said nuance, and there's a ton of gray area and there's a lot of speculation going on here. But so with that, give me a couple scenarios in how you see this playing out, and maybe some timelines on those scenarios.
I think the most likely scenario is Rodgers comes back. We have this last dance sort of scenario where there's this unkept secret that this is going to be Aaron Rodgers last year. I think that's basically how we're going to operate here. Now, whether Davante Adams is a part of that long term, I don't know, but he's going to play this year. Could this be a Jordan Pippen thing where Jordan retires and then comes back? And I don't know who the NFL version of the Wizards is. Maybe he goes to the Raiders and plays or something like that with John Gruden, and they go 10-7. And then Davante Adams, who knows, could be the Pippen, goes to Houston and does all that. That is the most likely scenario to me, that we get one more year of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. He gets traded and it becomes the Jordan Love era. No, don't ask me how that's going to go. I don't have any idea. There is a small percentage chance, I think, that Rodgers holds firm. You talk to some people and they will say, no, he is adamant that he will not play for Green Bay this year. I think there is a small chance that he sits and just says, I'm good. Now, you posted the workout video, right? He's working out. He wants to play. And so I think he's going to play, and then it'll be the I want my Tom Brady moment, trade me and I'll show you. That's the situation. I'm coming around actually to the idea that Rodgers is going to be at camp and early, not day one necessarily, but I think he's going to show up. He's going to say all the right things. They're going to play how they play. And then next spring is when we get the Rodgers trade.
It's going to be a fascinating story to follow along with. All training camp seems like preseason long with Peter Bukowski. That's why you got to tune in to Locked On Packers. And of course, Locked On Today. Few titles short of a last dance situation for
only 6, at least for Davante Adams.
Yeah, 5 for Aaron Rodgers. But it's definitely a tangled web that we love to be seen weaved play out. But can't wait for it. Peter, thanks for your time, man.
Anytime.